Hi everybody, you're locked into Meenu at BMQ podcast. Today's guest is someone whose journey goes far beyond music. He's a producer, a storyteller, a survivor. Someone who's helped shape UK Punjabi and independent sound over the years. From powerful projects like Project Rehab, Digital, to facing a sarcoma diagnosis, and now returning with new music that blends Punjabi roots and global hip hop. This is a story about resilience and purpose, and I'm really, really excited and honoured to welcome Tarli Digital. Hi, Tarli.
Hi, Meenu. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
You're going into different colors in your cheeks and your face. Like you're going from
Bahut
like,
lal hogi. No, I'm just really, really happy. We were just saying actually before we started recording, for me, this is one of probably an interview that makes me really happy purely because
oh, thank you.
no, thank you for joining us because for me, I think this is not about me, but for me, growing up, I listened to your music, and the first thing I did when I used to come from school in my teens was put Z music on, for example, and you would see you and delve into singing to the Punjabi skidding story like this. So for you to sit here and interview is a massive honour. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for sharing that with me. But ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਗਾਲਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਪੈਂਦੀਆਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਪਏ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਹੋਮਵਰਕ ਤਾਂ ਕਰ ਲਾ ਗਾਣੇ ਬਾਅਦ ਸੁਣ ਲਈ
ਉਹ ਨਾਲ inspiration ਸਾਨੂੰ ਮਿਲਦੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਸੀ
yeah,
that's
yeah,
why.
yeah. Listen to the music whilst you're doing your algebra. I get that. That's cool.
Literally. I was going to make a joke about algebra, but I'll keep that inside me. Anyway,
Okay.
I want to take you back
Yeah.
because your music was just never about singles. I think for me, it defines as eras. Okay. So Project Rehab, for example, and other projects that you've done, they all felt quite raw and sometimes very real as well. So tracks, so you did a variety of tracks. So you got Ikikbali, you got Chure Wali, but then you've got devotional stuff like Santaji the Ball. So was that you showing different sides of you? Like who are you as a person?
Right. Okay. So first and foremost, Tarli Digital is Tarli, a music fan. And I grew up in a small place called Sandwell, just outside Birmingham. So just growing up around all the legends from Birmingham and around here, I was just, I'm a groupie and a fan to start
Yeah.
off with, and I think that's what drives the kind of music I've always put out. And I think you hit the nail on the head there. It does reflect the kind of emotions maybe I'm going through at the time.
Yeah.
And I think another blessing is that it's been a hobby of mine. It still is, and I think that's kind of it's been a bit of a weakness and a strength as well because the strength is I've never kind of needed to worry or stress about getting gigs, um, spending or earning money in music. For me, it was like I've got another career. This is what I do in my spare time.
Okay.
So it's kind of been a blessing as well. So going back to your question, it all started off at an early age, from a listener to kind of harassing shopkeepers about when new stuff's coming out, networking, and then kind of just getting opportunities. It's never easy. I think it's probably easier now, but there's still challenges as well. But it was pretty raw back then. You know,
Yeah.
it was either now you can just invest and do it yourself because the
Yeah.
tools and the resources are there. But in those days, 20 plus years ago, you had to book into a studio, you had to go and see a songwriter, you had to find a singer,
Yeah.
you couldn't just download samples, you had to book musicians.
Yeah.
So it was quite a raw and very narrow, learning curve.
So when you were like, I know you said it was a hobby, but to us it was more than that. As
Yeah.
I said to you, I think you defined that era of music for me anyway. When you were creating music during that phase of your life, what was driving you? Like, was it an outlet for you at the time?
No, I was young and I was just having fun. So for me, I've always been my own biggest critic. If I don't like it, then
Okay.
yeah, I'm not finishing it. And I know that sounds a bit stubborn and selfish, but it doesn't come from a place of arrogance. For me, I make music as a hobby, like I said. To me, पसंद आ गया is good enough. Je ek ade bande nu ਹੋਰ पसंद आ गया, even
Yeah.
better. It's
Yeah.
cool if you don't like it. It's cool if you do, and it worked. I was kind of using influences of music that I was growing up, in the 90s with and a bit of the 80s. That's how old I am. But then I was also kind of listening to what my peers were doing, and I think the noughties, the 2000s, especially for UK Bhangra,
Yeah.
it was so inspirational. So it wasn't just what I was doing. I'd look out for what, what other label mates are doing, what other producers are doing, and the whole scene kind of, especially for me and my mates, it kind of really inspired us. Not to kind of Ramna do the same as what he's doing. It was more like, you know what, that's dope, man, and that inspires me
Yeah.
to kind of just push myself. And it was just a cool, the biggest achievement for me, a personal one, is just being a part of the 2000s. If I was born a bit earlier, the 90s would have been even better, you know. But yeah, it was cool, man.
I think that era though, like I agree in some sense what you're saying. Like everybody was UK Bhangra scene was probably at the peak at that point for us, and I think everybody was creating a similar sound, but everybody you knew who everybody was. If you heard that
Yeah,
sound, you know that was a Tarli sound. You know that was an Aman Hair sound. Like you knew
yeah,
who everybody was.
of course.
Obviously, you had studio sessions, like you said, live shows, CDs, word of mouth was huge. Now
Yeah,
you've got streaming, reels, algorithms, and instant judgment as well, right?
of course, of course.
So, do you miss that older era, or do you feel that the industry gives more freedom now? Like, what do you think of it?
I miss it because I'm a product of that environment.
Yeah,
But at the same time, I think it's essential that, myself or those that are coming up now embrace the tools and kind of the scene as it is now. I'm pretty sure what we were doing in the 2000s, our senior peers, who worked in the 80s and 90s hated what we did. And they did actually. I would always get comments that here, oh, you don't play any instruments though. Or, but can you do that? I bet it's so and so does your work for you. But that was because, we were the product of an industry where you had to play everything yourself.
yeah,
And as those tools kind of got more available, it kind of let people like me who had no real skill set, just go out and learn and make it easy for myself.
yeah. I mean, what would you say to the younger generation now? What do you think that you just said that you go out there, you book a studio, you do your thing, and you learn, you try again, and
Yeah,
until if you liked it, then you'd put it out there. I mean, what
yeah.
advice would you give to the younger generation now? What do you think they lack?
I can't say they lack anything because I'm not part of this kind of current fraternity in any way, shape,
Okay.
or form. Um, I'd say I'm more of a legacy, if you want to call it like a legacy artist. I'd say just have fun. The tools are there for you to use. Is it making it easy for you? Great. Music is a reflection of your expression, isn't it? So if you're going to use a certain online tool or use AI and it sounds great and it puts a smile on your face, also on somebody else's, just do it. I was about to swear then. I'm not supposed to swear, am I?
We can beep it out, it's fine.
All right, yeah, yeah. So all I was gonna say was, fuck it, just have fun. And
Yeah.
up and down the low, swallow the low, and that's the key thing for me. He always has been.
So thinking about the current Bhangra industry now, do you
Yeah.
feel the UK scene has lost its voice, or do you think it's just evolving differently?
Sorry, repeat that question because you cut out then.
Sorry, I was saying, thinking about the UK Bhangra industry now, the way it
Yeah.
is, do you feel the UK scene has lost its voice, or do you think it's just evolving differently?
I'd say it's definitely evolving. I wouldn't say it's lost its voice. It's just the market's bigger now. The reach is bigger.
Okay.
As an example, uh, when myself and others in the 2000s we released music on CDs and vinyls, it was all done in territories.
Andrew?
Because there was no internet. So, Movebox, for example, released in the UK, Speed Records or T Series in India, and that same product will be distributed in North America by Planet Records.
Yes.
The difference now is that because of online Spotify, iTunes, and previous to that, LimeWire and Napster, music is more accessible. So I don't think UK's lost its touch. Um, you know, I do the one thing I do look out for is I kind of keep an eye, who's coming up and who's doing what on Instagram. And there's some great, brilliant artists
Yeah.
coming up through the UK. I'm not going to name drop them because I'll probably miss somebody and they'll be like, Mera nani liya. But yeah, there's some great guys who out there are working hard on their craft and they're learning. And some of them are having to do it still the hard way because it's all about promotion and kind of social media and kind of
Mm,
investment. But there's some great talent out there. I don't think the UK has fallen off.
no.
You know, There's
Do you not
still a
think a
lot of
lot of it's
people.
gone to India and Canada though?
I think there's a time where well, Canada's still bumping, but it's supply and demand though, isn't it, Minu? So the kind of music that we traditionally are known to make in the UK are happy Bhangra dance songs, yeah,
Hmm.
right. And whereas what's coming out of North America, especially, is what the what the youngsters and the new generation will listen to, the
Yeah.
drill influence, the trap, hip hop influence. So it's cool. There's nothing wrong. It's still subjective at the end of the day. Uh, Another benefit of like Spotify and stuff is if you only want to listen to old school stuff, you can just find a playlist or just make one.
Yeah.
And that's what I do. My playlists on Spotify are really interesting. My kids hate them.
I have to follow it.
You
Listen
know,
to
you
them.
you get in the car with me, you'll probably hear anything from DCS, yeah,
Yeah.
to Nas, and then going into a bit of Hira, and then Satrang and a bit. I just listen to stuff that I'm familiar with, and it makes me happy.
Yeah,
And this
no,
is what
that's
the
what
guys
it
are
is.
doing today. They're listening to the stuff that's coming out from Canada, North, even India now, and it's cool.
Yeah, I guess music is an emotion, isn't it? So it's
Yeah,
how you express yourself.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, talking about expression, I just want to talk a little bit about your sarcoma journey, if that's okay.
Okay, okay,
This is something that personally sits with me as well because I remember watching the news. And I know that you've raised a lot of awareness on it this already.
yeah,
Um, so my dad was diagnosed with the same sarcoma in the same place and the same size. And then I
wow,
saw your journey and it was
yeah.
exactly the same, but the difference was my dad didn't survive. So that's why
I'm
it's
sorry to hear that.
that's okay. But
Yeah,
that's why I wanted to kind of talk to you about it and what it's done for you.
yeah.
Um, so I just wanted to know, I mean, how your, firstly, how it personally resonates with you and how it's changed you.
Okay. Well, I found out by accident in the
Okay,
in the medical field. They call it an incidental find.
okay,
I caught COVID. I got really poorly with COVID, um, and towards the end of it, I got sent back to hospital just to check my lungs out.
okay,
Th- I had my kind of CT scans and whatnot in A&E. They go, "Look, your lungs look fine, but there's something else. We don't know what it is."
okay.
And when they told me that, like, the world fell apart. I'm like, okay, shit, what's this? Um, but they couldn't work out what was going on. They go, "We've never seen a mass that big. It's this black kind of
Yeah.
blodge we can see in the scans, but don't know what it is." So I stayed a week in that hospital.
Hmm.
They couldn't work it out, so they discharged me. I went to another hospital. Had a couple of kind of outpatient appointments there. They couldn't work out what it was, but at the same time, they kept telling me that it needs to be kind of looked at because the size of it. It was when they eventually took it out, it was just a little under 14 kgs. Um, then I eventually got kind of transferred to a third hospital, which was a military one in Birmingham, and they kind of confirmed through a biopsy that it was like sarcoma, which was in a way a relief as well because now that they knew how serious it was, I was kind of pretty quickly fast tracked
Okay.
into surgery, and it was just I still sometimes can't believe it. Like after a couple of weeks, or a month or so, you think you forget about these kind of things, don't you? When life goes on, and then you'll have like a reminder, and you think, "Yeah, I went through that. It was pretty crazy." For me personally, I didn't know much about sarcoma. I did as much research as I could, and I quickly found out that it's a type of cancer which is rarely spoken about because it's that rare.
Yeah.
So I kind of felt relieved in a way that, pata lag gaya, but then I also kind of read about the devastation it's having on especially the Asian community because it's rarely diagnosed kind of correctly. Um, but something else I don't really often talk about. Whilst I was fighting my sarcoma kind of journey and my problems,
Yeah.
my younger sister, she also had she was diagnosed with cancer as well, stage 3. Um, so for me, it was a case of fighting the battle, supporting her, but not telling her either. Which
Wow.
was the biggest
That must have
kind
been
of
really tough for you.
it was crazy. I do remember the day I went for my surgery.
Yeah.
My mom had just come back from Canada because she went out there to support my sister. That's where she lived at the time.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, so it was pretty big thing for the family. But I've been for what, 4 years now in remission.
Amazing.
It's not been easy. It's been tough. And I just hope that others can just take health a bit seriously. I think as Asians, especially as Punjabis, naturally it's only a bit of snivels going on jao kamte or just go to
Mm,
school or whatever.
carry on.
I think sometimes some things, if something's going on for a while, you just got to get it checked.
Do
Um,
you think if you hadn't had that lung check scan thing that
yeah,
you had, did you notice any symptoms yourself or
no, I'm absolutely convinced ਜੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ COVID ਨਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ,
तो पता नहीं
and I
लगना सी?
ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਲੱਗਣਾ ਨਾ,
Wow.
and it's kind of made my life longer for a short while, but it was an eye opener in many ways. It
Something
changed,
positive came out your
yeah,
COVID basically.
it changed my mindset in life completely, in
Mm.
everything. And my golden rule now, or since then, is just live your life, and aj jo karna kar lo, aj karo if you can,
Yeah, yeah.
and there's some things we should just not waste our kind of energy on worrying about.
I think when you hear the words like life is short, you don't really know what that means until something
Yeah,
like this happens. You're like, yeah, oh shit, life is short.
yeah.
So I
I I
really,
I'd say that, I think life is short is a term that's used too much. Um, Nobody's life is too short or long. Depends on what faith you follow. I just say life is unpredictable,
yeah,
right? So,
embrace it.
just try and embrace it, and just occasionally do something reactive, because you never know if you're going to get the chance to do that again.
Yeah. I think it's really nice of you to kind of share that with us because I think it's so important in the Asian community to raise that
Yeah,
awareness because जे एक तो raise नहीं करते information आप गलबात आप इस चीज़ पर आप गलबात भी नहीं करते sometimes
yeah,
it's more of like a taboo subject as well
yeah.
I do find that in the way that I do as well that people are a bit hesitant talking about it out loud so I really
Yeah.
respect that you have openly spoken about it so thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you.
What I really respect is that you didn't just return, but you returned back with a meaning. So your
Yeah.
new releases. Firstly, I saw that Instagram post that you did, the one where you were lying in hospital. So that really touched me. But your recent releases, Rhythm and the Rebel,
Yeah.
Lion and the Bees, Coming For You, and Exit Wounds. Firstly, what
Yeah.
names?
Okay.
So when you stepped back into that studio. Did you feel the same? Did music have a new meaning? Like, tell me how this was created.
Okay. So I'm just going to rewind back a couple of years.
Mm.
So around the time I was diagnosed with sarcoma cancer, I was at that time kind of just considering just doing something.
Yeah.
And one particular friend of mine, he was like, just do something, just to get your mind off things. You
Mm-hmm.
don't know what's going on with you. And I'd started a couple of songs around there. There's a few songs which I hadn't finished from back in the day.
Yeah.
And I just started kind of, opening them up, because prior to 2024, for about 10 years, I just focused on my kind of spiritual personal journey, and I made a lot of devotional music.
Okay.
So a lot, I created and released more music in those like 9, 10 years than I did, in the good old TD days. Um, but yeah, when I came around, then I started kind of getting back into everyday life.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I needed something.
Mm-hmm.
And the same friend suggested, the stuff you started, just do one song. Just
Yeah.
just do one. And that one song turned into an EP, into an album, and that came out last year.
Amazing.
Um,
Yes.
and that was called The Dub Conspiracy Encore. And
Yeah.
it just it kind of reminded me of all the fun I had, and kind of how happy it made me feel.
Yeah.
Uh, and I released it. It wasn't like a big commercial release, but I just put it out there. And and ever since, I've just been working on bits and pieces. My health took a bit of a decline
Okay.
after that album came out. So everything I had, planned in my head on what I'm going to do next, it kind of all got put on the back burner. And these 4 songs, it's a hip hop EP that I wanted to always make. So growing up in the 90s, it wasn't only about like the UK Bhangra bands. I was
Yeah.
a huge hip hop fan as well. So this EP is a tribute for me to the sounds I grew up on.
Yeah.
this is why there's very interesting titles, because it's not your average kind of not your average project. It's not a Bhangra project for
No, no.
starters. And I know you're a radio presenter. You probably won't be able to play any of it because of all the profanities on there. Uh, but it was basically just me, like, working with some really cool, really talented artists from
Yeah,
India. And then also having the opportunity to kind of feature verses from legends that I grew up listening to, Inspector Deck, Ghostface Killer, the
yeah,
God Rakim. So for me, it was just like, मैं अपना एक cha पूरा करना है, सिर्फ मैं cha पूरा
yeah.
किया
And
that,
you can hear it. You can hear the
yeah,
Tarli sound in it, to be honest. And for
yeah,
me, I know that you don't market it as a big thing. You just put your heart out there.
yeah,
But for me, it was like a return. I mean, if you
yeah.
listen to it, guys, it's amazing. It's a Tarli sound. So
I mean,
yeah,
we planned like music videos for a couple of them,
yeah.
but like I said, my health kind of got a bit
Okay,
bad again. Hence that picture on the cover. I took that picture when I came around from some surgery I had recently. I
okay.
just thought, if you're up with the area that I woke up back again, and and I've got another opportunity. Hence why I call the EP Godfidence. And for me is that I've got confidence in God's will. It doesn't have any reflection on the content of the EP or the
No, no.
or the gala or the subjects. But for me, it was
Yeah.
like, everything's a blessing, man. I'm just gonna do what makes me happy, and
Yeah,
here you
but
go.
that picture that on the cover, the what you put on Instagram,
Yeah,
that spoke so many words. I said, जिन्होंने समझना है उन्होंने समझ ही जाना है.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
for me, that was that really like like touched my heart because I could
yeah,
see what you meant by with that picture said 1,000 words. So I think
yeah.
yeah, it was brilliant.
The objective was to kind of offer hope.
Yeah,
So no matter what you're going through,
yeah,
yeah, everything's in confidence, and you'll be okay. Have fun as
yeah.
well.
This is it. You'll be okay. I
Yeah,
think you hit the nail on the head there.
yeah,
That really that's really nice. We touched on this slightly before. We was talking about technology and how it's moving fast, and you mentioned AI as well.
yeah,
How do you personally feel? I know that you said that if it puts a smile on people's faces, and
yeah.
but how do you feel about AI in music? Do you think it's a tool that can help creativity, or something that's risking diluting the authenticity?
I think the authenticity in music can't really be measured in any way, because it's all subjective.
Okay.
Somebody might like the Beatles, someone might like Muhammad Rafi, someone might like, Deepa Satran. It's all subjective. So I think as long as it's musically correct, and, it's in the right scale, and, it's all in time, there's really no boundaries to music. And if people are embracing AI, to make music, it's cool. I mean, there's this one song that I keep hearing on the radio.
Okay.
Apparently, it's some AI. I didn't even know it was the girl singing was AI, and that song's number one. And whoever's made it, it's probably kind of generating a lot of revenue from it. Fair play to
Yeah.
them.
Fair
You know?
play. Okay.
But even AI as well. I mean, if you use it in any kind of walk of life, people use ChatGPT a lot. It ain't just like kind of say to ChatGPT, tell me how to make an aloo paratha. You've got to kind of work with it. You've got to give it the kind of the ingredients and what you want. So it ain't as easy. So
No,
those people out there that are using AI and they're making great music, and it makes sense and it feels cool to them, do it.
it's a tool, isn't it?
Yeah, just do it. Yeah.
What about social media? Do you think it's a blessing or a burden?
For me, I find it a curse
Do you? Why is that?
because because when I do kind of go on social media, I end up doom scrolling and my time crab on that. But it's like moving with the times. It's the way forward. It's no longer about just music. I'd even argue that it's no longer about the music. It's more about optics and kind of visual representation. But like that's cool as well. I think I'm probably sitting a lot on the fence here. At one time I'd be ripping it apart, saying, "Nah, it's it is in our cultures. We should be doing it traditionally." But I've got a different perspective on life now. I'm like, it's cool.
Chill.
If it works, it works. And I know a couple of my friends there experimenting with AI on quite an advanced level. Not your usual. using Suno or whatever the kids, well, I won't say kids, the new guys are using, you know,
Yeah.
and it's really cool and interesting on how, music can be kind of developed this way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
A live
interesting.
instrument's always going to be a live instrument. You know, uh, you want to get sarangi played, or dolgi or dol, any kind of ethnic instruments. No AI can replicate that because ਉਹ ਵਜਾਉਣ ਵਾਲੇ ਦੀ ਹੱਥ ਦੀ ਉਹ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ, ਉਹਦੀ ਪੇਸ਼ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੱਥ ਦੀ, and that talent is in that guy's
Yeah,
hand.
you can't take that color away
Yeah,
from that
you can't. So, I would say that, if some of the new generation are kind of using kind of traditional methods like songwriters and recording instruments, and some of them are, and recently I've heard some stuff that Dizzy Frenzy and Sean Music have done, and it's amazing. For me, it was the case of, this sounds like the kind of stuff that was coming out format wise in the 2000s,
Yeah,
but it's fresh, it's up to date. Um, so some people are still using those kind of musicians, which is cool.
that's nice.
But
Yeah,
if you could generate a guitar from from
why not?
AI, and it fits, why not, man? If
Yeah.
it's gonna make somebody dance, it's so good.
Would you consider using it yourself in the future?
Yeah, why not? But I don't have a means to at the moment because I'm happy with the current workflow and the tools I'm using. But I'd obviously embrace it and try it if I needed to.
Yeah,
But I know a lot of people are using it, and it seems like it's kind of revolutionizing the way we're making music. Look, ਇੱਕ ਟਾਈਮ ਤੇ ਲੋਕੀ ਤੁਰ ਕੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ, ਫਿਰ ਗੱਡੀਆਂ, ਫਿਰ ਸਾਈਕਲ ਤੇ, ਫਿਰ ਗੱਡੀਆਂ ਚ, ਹੁਣ ਪਲੇਨ ਚ ਲੋਕੀ ਘੁੰਮਦੇ ਆ. You know, technology changes.
yeah,
You know, we've gone from vinyls to CDs to mini disc,
absolutely.
to MP3s, back to vinyls. Whatever works. I don't know if you wanted some controversy from me today. I ain't brought none with me. I'm just gonna
I
agree
just
with
love
everything
looking
you
for
say.
cheap.
Kuch nahi hai. I got nothing but good vibes. I,
Right.
I got nothing but good vibes. I mean, if you were to have this interview with me last year, the year before, it'd be in a different tone. But like, um, life is just great. I just want to kind of, share that kind of goodness with everybody.
I'm so glad you are. So glad you are. And will you be sharing any more goodness in the future? What's next for Tarli?
Yeah, absolutely. So just putting the finishing touches to my next EP,
Amazing.
which kind of may turn into an album. Um,
It always does with
and
you.
I'm just doing bits and pieces, just having fun. I mean, I've got it open right now. I was working on a song this afternoon, and just going to carry on, making music. What a lot of people have said to me with Godfidence is this is so cool. We like it, whatever, whatever. Positive feedback. A few people have said that we want to hear that kind of Jawari Wali, that Tali digital TD2
That's what
sound.
it is. That's yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I'm doing. I'm putting together a handful of songs with one really cool singer that I've been working with recently. Um,
Is that here or India?
well, he's based both, but he's currently in India.
Okay.
But his name is Sach,
Okay.
and he featured on Godfidence, and we did some work last year as well. So it's an EP I'm working on, featuring him, and
Amazing.
I'm having total fun making the songs and the music. Hopefully, I'll share it with you soon.
I just love the way you talk about music because when you talk about music, I'm literally like obviously looking at my questions. I'm looking at you, and I'm listening to your answers. But the way you talk about music is so soothing because you just make it sound so easy. You make it sound so
Yeah,
fun, and it's so nice. Like I don't feel like there's any stress or there's any.
yeah.
It's just like you're just going with the flow. Is that right?
That's exactly, the mindset I have, and I think this is the mindset I had back in the day.
Yeah.
I was just too busy having fun. I was either touring in the studio or partying or gigging or at work, you know. Um, and because I enjoyed it and I loved it, and I'm kind of feeling that same kind of euphoria now as well.
Yeah.
Uh, I had to have that kind of wake up call sometimes, and I don't wish that kind of wake up call on anybody.
No.
But sometimes, a lived experience can make or break you, and it made me. Yeah, it told me, it's cool, T. Smile, man. It's all good. let's make some music. And I'm
I'm
surrounded
glad
by
you
some
are.
I'm surrounded by some wonderful people. My friend circle is really small. Most of them are really successful professional kind of individuals in the Bhangra market. My family is so supportive. You know, my son is kind of breaking into music as well now.
Amazing.
He's working on a project, and it feels so cool that I'm inspiring him as well. You know, it's all confidence basically.
What does your legacy mean to you now?
Um, it doesn't mean that I'm a millionaire. uh,
Oh,
it just means to me that I'm part of an alumni of kind of music and an industry which has it will never come and go. The 2000s, all the music that came out there, and you know, I have a couple of songs which will stand out. But some of my peers from that time created songs that are going to be evergreen, and will be played everywhere. Um, One of my mates is a DJ. He kind of does wedding kind of DJ gigs and stuff. And all that stuff. He goes, the dance floor doesn't get around until it's nostalgic hour.
yeah, it's true.
So when the Tarti Hildi comes on,
Yeah,
and the Mitte Ganne, and the
it's true.
the Heat by Jack's climax or something that Lambert
Yeah,
did. That's nostalgic, and I feel blessed to be part of that kind of fraternity.
era.
Uh,
Yeah.
you know, and somewhere someone might be listening to Jawari Wali or Nach the Punjabi or Do Tara, and it just feels really cool to be part of that.
No, I mean I'm not gonna lie. I did the school run earlier, and my eldest daughter was in the car, and I was like, I'm gonna interview Tarli today, and I was playing Yogani to her, and she's like, this sounds cool. I was like, it was cool.
Yeah,
I was like, it still sounds good. So that was nice. It was,
yeah,
I actually think all the even like the old Hira tracks, for example, or
yeah,
Selfie and all that. I think like, even now when I play them now, I feel like they're so ahead of time. I
yeah.
think music was way ahead of its time, even in like 90s and
Of course,
noughties.
there were some artists from the 80s and 90s who were ahead of their time with
Yeah,
how they were blending Bhangra music and Western influences. All you got to do is listen to Pop Up the Bhangra
I
or
was gonna
Wham Bam,
say that's it.
yeah, or
That
or
yeah,
Driller Killer by Saki,
yeah,
Achanak stuff.
yeah.
The stuff that Alap and Hero were doing.
Mm,
It was
absolutely,
a lot of it was ahead of its time,
it was.
but what the new generation and the current kind of generation of listeners are listening to is kind of the R&B hip hop stuff that kind of we kind of made and kind of
Yeah,
had influences of in 2000. So it's refreshing to see that those
it
vibes are
is
coming back as well. I mean,
absolutely.
I'm not a drill or trap or that kind of music fan, but my kids love it, so it's cool. Yeah.
No, it's
But
cool.
like, but when I hear something that Garden Ojala's done and it's very poppy, it's very,
Yeah,
it's got rhythm in it, it's got instruments. Yeah, this is cool. I
yeah.
like
No,
it. Yeah,
no, it's definitely great. Don't get me wrong, but I personally feel that era was something else, and I think I'm just really
yeah,
happy that I was able to listen to that era,
yeah.
and you were part of that. So thank you so much.
And I tell you another thing as well. If
Thank you.
you kind of, if you listen to the music that the bands in the 80s and 90s were making,
Hmm.
most of it was, well, like 90% of it was happy and fun.
It was.
Yeah. You could hear it at a wedding. You could hear it in the car.
They
You
were
know, you
really were for weddings, weren't they? Most of the
yeah.
gone, if you think about it.
थोड़े बहुत sad song when they sing it like a few romantic, but a lot of them were dance. It was dancing music, and that's Punjabis. This is what
Thrive
this is
off.
what part
Yeah,
of the Punjabi culture,
yeah,
not the religious side, but the cultural side of it is the celebration.
yeah,
And I think that those sounds and those influences were heavily based in that. Whereas as Punjabis, as we've kind of evolved in the Western world, our kids and even myself, we're influenced by by Western music. So the
yeah,
hip hop comes in, and then the garage and the drum and bass, and even those kind of subjects as well. I mean, like the songs that are coming out these days, they're pretty much all the same, But that's what that's what the vibe is now. Whereas you listen to Tola Vitola from Satrang, yeah. It's not only about the talk. It's all about "Aja tu main nachiye hai to," like it makes you wanna you
Yeah.
can connect with the words.
Yeah.
Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
It's a
You connect,
message.
you
You
yeah, you
want
can
to go
connect with
and
the
do that.
words. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas like some of the music I hear now, I can't connect with it because you know, as the kids say, I'm not from the streets. You know what I mean, innit?
Yeah, it's more of a
Yeah.
trend than something
Friend,
quite
yeah,
meaningful. But
yeah,
no, I definitely get you. But I think we just got to go with the flow, though. But I
yeah,
think what I'm trying to say is, although we're evolving, but what I
yeah.
do find is in your new music that you're still you, and I think that's what I like. I still
Yeah.
hear that Tarly sound, and I want you to keep that sound. I'm sure you will.
Oh,
You
thank
know,
you.
and
Thank
that's
you.
amazing.
No, thank you so much. And it's nice to hear that because sometimes when you change tools or you work in different environments or studios, your sound can change.
Hmm.
Um, but I'm kind of, I feel kind of really kind of blessed that wherever I work, so I work in various studios. I have a studio at home now. I've kind of maintained that trademark sound of mine.
Yeah,
So I
absolutely.
was never ghost produced as people, used to kind of claim back in the day.
No, no, we're blessed to have you, and we're just
Thank you.
blessed to have that Tarly sound. It's definitely that's something that's going to stick with me anyway, and I'm sure all of our listeners. Any last words or messages to our audience, Tarly?
Is this for the Pangra Music Quiz or is this for the gold? Is this for radio?
Bhangra
Or is it for
music
both?
quiz.
All right.
Yeah.
Uh, just keep doing Pangra. It's a genre that will never die. And some of those quizzes that you guys do, are great, and they help me kind of, think back on. Oh yeah, I remember that song, and I remember those times, good times. Yeah.
Definitely,
So
definitely gives us reminders.
yeah, and hopefully I'll do a Bhangra song, which you guys will
Yeah.
like. I've got a couple of kind of Bhangra tracks in the EP as well.
Wow.
Yeah,
Look
see
forward to it.
how
Is
it
that
comes
a
together.
singer's based in India again, or mix, or?
So Sach, he's working both in the UK and in India,
Hmm.
but he is India born and raised.
Okay.
But you won't be able to tell that when you
He's
kind
got
of hear
that
his.
folk sound to him.
No,
No.
he's actually quite multi-talented. He's very diverse. He can do kind of the R&B.
Oh, amazing.
He can do the very deep folk stuff as well. And he's a songwriter as well, so he writes his own
Wow.
songs.
3 in 1.
Yeah, yeah, of course, yeah.
Talented. Wow. Thank you so much, Tarly, for joining us. Not just for the music, but for your honesty, your resilience,
Thank you.
and willingness to raise awareness as well. So I do appreciate that.
Appreciate that. Thank you for having me today.
No, no, thank you so much. I just want to say your story really reminds people of strength, and this isn't just about surviving, it's about speaking up and choosing to create. And I think because you're creating and you're having fun,
Yeah.
we just love that sound. So thank you to everyone, and make sure you check out Harley's latest releases. Big love, and thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Thank
Respect.
you.